go. Welcome to Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash. Domain to Profit is a show where we look through expiring domain names and pick out the best ones to talk about. Why do they get their value? Why do some domain names, like the one we're going to talk about a little bit today, OnSale.com, why did those domain names go for tens of thousands or even $100,000 or more? And other domain names we pick up for 20 bucks. I like picking up the $20 ones mostly. But, well, I hope you're here because you love domain names. I hope you love opportunity, because that's exactly what we bring you every single week here on Domain to Profit. What does that opportunity look like? It looks like expiring domain names. And what the heck can you do with the domain name? Well, it is real estate of the internet. Real estate of the internet. Like, what would you do if you can go back in time and buy Manhattan? Buy the island of Manhattan. Wouldn't you do that? Yeah, I'm guessing so. Hopefully you treat all the people that are there before you better than maybe. Okay, that's a different topic altogether. Well, if you have not, make sure you say hi in the chat. Let everybody know you're here, because even though I'm the one that shows up on the screen typically, I'm just one guy of many, the community that's out there, all of us looking to find great domain names, and I develop them into something that brings value to the world. You belong here. Say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from, anything cool you got going on. I'm Drew Wash, Domain to Profit. See you in a minute.
From domain to profit, from a dot-com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Oh man, I'm feeling a little bit on the silly side, which is all good because I'm a pretty freaking silly guy if you don't know that. Lee, how's it going, man? Bonjour, hola, guten tag, konnichiwa. Yeah, all those. Good day, mate. You got it. You own all those domains. Those are some good domains, actually. Coaster G, stuck at home waiting for FedEx. At least Drew will be here. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad you can make it. I can assume you got somebody to pick up the kids from school. Stuart, nice to see you here as well. And SoCal Real Estate. Well, there you go. I'm trying to remember based on the photo. I'm not going to guess. I know I could come up with it, but I'm not going to. And hello here. This is a new username as well. So Isakov. Hopefully I get it a little. Well, either way, we're glad to have you here. And Fred, nice to have you as well. DTP, Domain to Profit, Monday. And nobody like called me out last week. I realized I had the wrong date. Like I had the 9th versus the 8th or something like that. Anyhow, math, not my thing. And as Matt mentioned in the chat, make sure you like the video. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe. You should subscribe. Sometimes we find domain names or opportunities that we can bring to you because we see them, we bring them out, boom, which sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we don't. Today, we're pretty lucky, I think. We have a pretty good topic to talk about, and that is OnSale.com. As you probably saw in the notes, OnSale.com is going to be one of the domain names we talk about. What do you think of that domain? OnSale.com. Well, we will dive into that one a little bit, as we do with all the other domain names. If you're the first time viewing and you're kind of like, what are we going to filter? What are we going to look at? Well, just so you know, the filters that we use are for a site called expireddomains.net. And in the description over on YouTube, you'll find a link to the filters that we use, which will do this here. So it will take it down from 460,000, I believe it was, down to 86,000 domain names. And what you are looking at here on the screen behind me is expireddomains.net. You can see that up in the URL. You can set up a free account and do all those things, get the filters set up before the show ideally, or you can follow along for that video for a couple minutes and we'll show you how to set up these 7 filters, which will pull up this list and these 86,000 domain names. And you're like, this show's an hour. How are you going to get through 86,000 domains? And the answer is we're not going to. we're not going to get to 86,000 domains. In fact, if you see where we at here, right above me is the valuation. That is a valuation that is just something we use to order these domains by. It is provided by GoDaddy to expireddomains.net. We order by it. It does not actually mean the value of the domain name, but what it allows us to do is pull the best domain names to the top. So when we go through 200, 400, 600 domains, we're seeing some of the best domain names available this week right at the top versus going through 86,000 domains just hoping we get lucky. And you'll find as we go, page by page, they get worse and worse as we go. So on top, as you see here, is OnSale.com. OnSale.com. And you can also see, let's just go ahead and click on it. We'll show you a little bit around. So expireddomains.net is a free site. We don't own it. We don't really even, I've never even talked to the person that owns it. It's just a helpful tool. So when you click on a domain name, it adds, they get a little bit of a commission. And that's how they make their money. There's no membership fee or anything like that. So one of the biggest things for a newcomer is expireddomains.net. There you go. You're welcome. Use that site if you want to search through hundreds of thousands of expiring domain names each week. So you'll see here, onsale.com ends tomorrow. So this is why timing is important. If you're watching live and you're like, freaking, I'm ready to mortgage my house and buy this domain name, now you have a chance to do that. Although something tells me it would take longer to get a mortgage than to, yeah, you probably need more than a day. But tomorrow o'clock is about what I said. OnSale.com ends. And we talk about here on Domain to Profit about specific domain names. I like to hang my hat on domain names that are industry-defining domain names. I get my background from towing.com is one of the domain names, towing like towing a car. But we also photobooths.com, djs.com, bartenders.com. I love those industry generic domain names, but there's always other angles that you may come from. If we all just stick to Drew's favorite domain names, realistically, we're all just going to be competing with each other. There's probably more domains out there than what we could all, anybody that watches this show could ever develop. But what about a domain name like this that is already up over $46,000? It still has a day left, so we expect this to go higher. Let's look at this domain name. Instead of what I often do is I will see a domain name like this and be like, that's an investment domain name, not really something worth developing, and we kind of brush it off. In the case of this one, it is an investment domain name. Pull up SpyFu here in a second. It is an investment domain name, meaning chances are the person that's going to buy this is hoping to buy it for some amount and sell it to the right buyer in the future. Why would they do that, though? Where does the value come from? That's what we want to discuss here for a little bit on OnSale.com. I figure a $46,000, $47,000 or more domain name is worth a little bit of a discussion. So let's look it up. So we're going to go over to SpyFu.com. And SpyFu, you can see it up there in their logo. SpyFu, I guess that's like a spy ninja or something. But what we do with our domain names, one of that we go to SpyFu.com. You could use the free one. I have a paid account here, and we take the .com off and we search for the keywords of the domain name. That's kind of that step one of looking up a premium expired domain names. If you do this one step with many of the domain names we're going to bypass today, we're just going to skip over so many domain names. If you were to do this step with many of those domain names, you'll find the keywords just aren't there, and other things we're going to talk about are not going to be there. And if you find one that's otherwise, then, and you love that industry, yeah, well, there you go. You might have a good opportunity then. And for the record, I see Michael joined us, and he is saying that I should buy it. This one is not something I'm going to buy. I'm not looking to buy OnSale.com, which I'll talk about that a little bit. But I'll just let you know, remove that. I'll remove that question that some may have, is whether Drew's going to buy it or not, and knows the answer. Whether you buy it or not, up to you. Up to you. So we have SpyFu up behind me, and as we talk about often, there's three different characteristics or three pieces that I really like to look at on here. One is this number over there, which is the number of exact searches. So how much traffic's out there for on sale when people are searching for on sale? Not sure how many people really do that. It says 2,800. That's a pretty good number in typical, like a quick evaluation. A lot of times I think of that number is either going to be divided by something or multiplied by something, depending on the advertisers for that domain name, which we'll talk about. That's one of the three pieces that I want to talk about. The other one is over here in the middle, and that is similar keywords. Does our domain name show up in other keywords? So other phrases. So one of the ways that I do that is if you do a Control F on your F, like Fox, it's American Sign Language for F. If you do a Control F, you can do on sale, and it's going to highlight our phrase on this page. And what you'll find as you kind of look down through this middle section especially is we're really missing out. We're not seeing keywords available for on sale, which I don't like to see. We see it pop up over here. When do in-game tickets go on sale? Do you see it's behind me? So behind me here is, there we go. When do Taylor Swift's tickets go on sale? So we're really not seeing our domain name on sale being used in the actual data. And then the main pieces of data, those final two pieces, or the final piece, is the money and advertisers being spent. We want domain names that people are spending money on. And if you look down here, Google is providing this data, and they're saying that there's no advertisers for searches for on sale. So if you go to Google and you search for on sale, in theory, there's no advertisers there. Nobody's paying for that keyword. And if they ever pay, it's like 52 cents per click. So I say typically on the show, we want to see advertisers of double digits, so 10 or more advertisers. The closer we get to 10 or more, the better that domain name feels and will be developed. We want lots of money. We want lots of people competing for that keyword. It makes us developing it, monetizing it easier. And then we want to see the cost per click. Ideally, we want to see that $2 or more. We're looking for a niche that has some good monetary competition happening. So both quantity of advertisers, but then kind of that quality, as in, is it worth it? Is there some money there? So these are the quick factors we look for. We can usually just pop through looking at a domain name in just a couple quick minutes and get an idea for it. So why is this domain name with no advertisers, very little per click, 2,800 searches for the actual domain, why is it going for $46,000, nearly $47,000 currently? Well, last time we talked about localmotors.com, which went for $88,000 just a week ago. And that one seemed to be somebody who's kind of buying into an old brand, maybe some search engine traffic. In this case, we have something completely different, which is why we're spending a little bit of time on it. OnSale.com is getting its value from the fact that we all say on sale. It's on sale. How many commercials do you see that say on sale now? 2000 and what year is it? 2022 Ford Escorts. Do they still make Ford Escorts? I have no clue. Anyhow, I don't know cars. I'm not a car guy. But we hear the phrase on sale. And because we say that name, we say on sale, it's a common phrase that we use in language. It's a common phrase we use in marketing. That creates an instant brand. Why does that matter? Well, one of the factors we talk about with domain names is the fact that a domain name is land, and you can build anything you want to on a domain name. Doesn't matter what the domain name is. Here on Domain to Profit, we look primarily at .com domain names. And you can build on any domain name. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be a $50,000 domain name. But the best domain names, underneath the surface of that land, there's oil. There's land that could be mined for gold. And that land, you might be oil, gold, but what is that? What brings that value? And what we talk about is the validation that a domain name brings to somebody that owns it, or the authority that it provides when you use and talk that domain name through. So if you were to call up somebody, how do you test that? I'm walking you through the steps that we do pretty frequently here on the show. How do you test the authority of a domain name? Well, think of it in terms of a conversation you might have with a potential advertiser on your website. If you were to call them and say, hey, this is Drew. I am with OnSale.com. Would you be interested in listing your product for sale? Whatever it may be. Would you be interested in listing your business? OnSale.com. When they hear that domain name, and when you hear that domain name, do you perk up? Do you assume that that person is authoritative, like, and knows something about your industry? Towing.com, for example. One of the sites that I've developed out successfully, makes millions, thousands of customers, hundreds of thousands of million visitors. Long story short, when we call a towing company and say, hey, this is Drew with Towing.com, that towing company passes immediate authority on to us as a domain name owner, and we've used that successfully. So who will hear OnSale.com and immediately say, hey, I want to do business with this? That's the question. Can you answer that question? If you're going to develop this into a business, you should be able to answer that question. Who will be your customer? The easy question, or the easy answer for how you would develop OnSale.com would be, well, I'd take it and I'd sell a bunch of products. I'd be like Overstock.com, and we'd buy all the cheap products and we'd sell it. Like, yes, you could do that, but ultimately you're going to work really freaking hard, and there's other opportunities out there. There's other opportunities out there, which is why I am not buying OnSale.com. Plenty of other opportunities out there, maybe not this week, but in weeks future, to find. It is a great domain name. If you sell products already, you're probably scrambling to get this domain name and get in on it. And that is OnSale.com, a very authoritative marketing domain name that can benefit your company. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. What do you guys think of OnSale.com? Anybody got anything on sale? And let me just point out one thing that is really important to this domain name. You'll notice in the middle, when we did that Control F for OnSale, it did not highlight any of these domain names in the middle. And that's because some of the alternatives for this domain name are better. They're more important domain names. For example, wouldn't you much rather own sale.com? Actually, that'd be a tough one. Phonetically, so verbally, radio test, as some people call it. What is it? Sale, like sale as in money, or sale as in sailboat. But for sale, I would prefer to have as a domain name. I'd prefer to have for sale, because if we do a Control F here and do for sale instead of on sale, look at this. Homes for sale, motorcycles for sale, Jeeps for sale, puppies for sale, boats for sale, all kinds of stuff for sale. Everything's for sale. Is it also on sale? Yes, it is. It's also on sale, but for sale is the more common phrase. Therefore, it gets all the benefit. In fact, we're going to go over here and do a Google search for on sale. And if you look, when we do a search, We're just going to do that same thing on sale. You'll see that there are plenty of searches for on sale. There's lots of stuff going on. Best Buy has a page, on sale, all kinds of things going on it. But what you'll lack and not see is for advertisers. But if we look for sale, those same pages, let me. Okay, let's look. 17.9 billion pages are on sale. Now we're going to change that over to for sale, and it's going to be. It's funny. It takes it down to 9 billion, but it's one of those places that Google is hiding something. For sale or what? Anyhow, I don't like Google. Anyhow, but you'll see for sale is in all these different domains. We'll just skip this over. It's not making the point that I really wanted to make anyways. Point being, this page makes it. For sale is a better domain name. On sale is a great domain, but secondary, and everybody wants for sale more than they want on sale. Hopefully you agree with that. If not, let me know in the chat. I love disagreement. And Edward, we see you popping in here as well. Thanks for joining us. I see others joining you in, which I love seeing. Fred and Matt, thank you for joining and welcoming the community in. I love seeing that. One of the other pieces that Lee is bringing up here is the domain authority, DA, is not the only reason for possible factor of the head start. Oh, and he's adding this, which is the 51. So what the heck is DA? Domain authority is DA. It's not the same authority that I'm referring to with the domain name. I'm talking about just the marketing influence authority of, does it sound like it's an important domain name? That's the authority I'm referring to. The DA, the domain authority that he's referring to, is the search engine optimization for the domain name. So how much does Google like it? And they like it quite a bit. I don't buy domain names for SEO purposes. I don't recommend other people buy it either, but people make money off it. So if that's what you're all about, then go for it. B. Atkins is saying, I think it's just looking for more of a cold call. When contacting a company, what person do you ask for? My domain is global, and a lot of them are large corporations. And I will tell you this, B. Atkins, if you are cold calling large corporations, you are making a mistake. As my mentor, Darren Hardy, says, cold calling is for weenies. And don't be a weenie. Don't do cold calling. You have to network your way into large companies. So you would probably be using LinkedIn and finding the access points. So who's the best person to ask for? That's a tough one. Every company's going to have a different decision. If you're calling large corporations, which I hate, I would never call a large corporation. I don't think I've ever tried to contact a large corporation. I would get a lot more. I'd get creative in trying to get them to contact me, probably run some search engine optimization. I'm sorry, some targeted Facebook campaigns or targeted keyword campaigns, trying to get the executives to contact me. So by that, I would come up with probably why a domain name like OnSale.com can benefit your company or benefit companies. Keep it vague and open, write a checklist or some kind of basic stuff, and try to capture some contact information to where they are prompted to contact you. I don't know if that's helpful at all. That's just a quick off the cuff type of thing, but hopefully that's helpful. Yeah. And yes, this is true. Every episode, your contempt for big businesses becomes clear. Yes, that is true. I don't think all big businesses are bad, but 100%, some big businesses are bad businesses. If they don't improve human lives and they're strictly in for profits, you might say, profits improve lives. The mission of the company has to improve human lives. Let's get to some domain names, shall we? I want to see some more domains. I mean, realistically, I'm guessing most of us here are not looking to buy onsale.com. So let's move on to some that We sometimes find domain names we can buy for $30, $40. In fact, I might have, I did not win any domain names this week, but some of them went for $65, $100. So if you like the discount ones, I'll show you which ones those are when we go to last week's Google auctions or GoDaddy auctions for me. I always share that data out. So let's go back over to the screens. We're back over on expireddomains.net. So if this is your first time and you watched that filter video, you're probably in and with us now. So we're going to pretty much just run down through this page down at a time. OnSale.com we talked about already. Multi-tools, it sounds like a good domain name. But what the heck is a multi-tool maybe, but multi-tools, I don't like it plural there. I usually like plural. Process management, soft media, yogurts. The word yogurt for some reason is one of my favorites. I like flood control. Are there companies that do flood control? Let's toss that into SpyFu. So clicking on flood control, it's seeing the auction, $1,200 currently. This one also ends tomorrow. So if you're not looking for the 50,000 on sale.com, you can maybe be looking for flood control, which is currently $1,200. And we're just going to grab that domain name, drop it in here, remove the .com. We're looking at flood control on SpyFu. It's that easy. If you don't trust your gut 100% of the time, you need to always check yourself or you'll wreck yourself. You knew it was coming. You finished my sentence. We know each other so well. We finish each other's sandwiches. Okay, internet, keep working. SpyFu seems to be having some. SpyFu is going poo-poo. Hopefully I'm still with everybody because my internet seems to be having issues. Come on, SpyFu. I'm about to go over to competing website. Okay. Well, it's not just me. Well, this is unfortunate. Lee's having issues. Matt's having issues. Obviously, I'm having issues. SpyFu, you're letting me down. Okay, well, let's go. Hey, does Ahrefs have a free account? Lee, I'm about to find out. I do not believe they do. Let's find out here. Dashboard. There are many other tools. The only thing is will they work for us? Canceled my SEMrush account, but we'll try it anyways. Let's see what happens. Okay, flood control. We got some data. Hopefully SpyFu comes back up for us here shortly. You'll find several tools that analyze data and keyword data. It doesn't have to be SpyFu. I just like it. It's nice and easy. Fits well on the screen behind me. 720, so there are some searches for it. One of the things I do like about SEMrush is it shows the global aspect of a keyword right on the home page. So even though in the US it's 720, globally it's 3.7, and I know we have a global audience that watches, so maybe it's better in your country. Or in case of flood control, realistically, we hear about global warming all the time and some future flood that's going to come, and voila, it may be worth having flood control into a growing market. 720 is not a lot. Let's go look at some money data. Let's see if we can find it here. And I am not seeing the money data. Oh, it's because it's over here and it's 0. That's why. So there are no ads showing up for flood control. The cost per click when there is ads, when there are ads, $4.27. So not really much happening with flood control. We looked at it. We came, we saw, we moved on. If you work in flood control, that always, not sure what is going on with my computer. What are you seeing on your screen? That's the question. Okay. Moving on. Healthcareservice.com. That's an interesting domain name. I kind of want to avoid it like the plague, but I can't argue with the fact that it's a pretty good domain name. Healthcareservice.com ends in 6 days and $171 currently. I'm going to go check SpyFu.com. Let's see if it loads this time. Oh, thank goodness. Please work. Healthcare service is 2 words, which one of the filters we set up filters to be 1 to 3 English words. That's one of the filters that we set up. And I like it to be 2 words or 1 or 2 words. The third word's just there, just in case. Sometimes we see them pop up. Okay, so we got 44 searches. I'm actually surprised this is as low as what it is. You'll see $2 per click, 3 advertisers. So we're starting to see some data that backs us up. The issue that I have in my experience with healthcare domain names, especially in the US, is it's such a regulated, difficult, bureaucratic industry that it's just very difficult to find people that want to pay you. Especially, I'm assuming you're a small business out there watching, you're maybe a solopreneur or a small business like myself. It's really hard. Like I believe it was B. Atkins, they're trying to reach these corporate clients. If you're a very small company, it's hard to do that. It's so much work to do that. It's better off to find industries that are small guys dealing with small guys versus something like healthcareservice.com. Let's see here, some reasonable middle of the road keywords. Maxim Healthcare Services, not sure what that is. Sounds like a brand. Not really vibing with this domain name, but maybe you are. Maybe it's something you're interested in. If you deal in healthcare, well, you're probably salivating at healthcareservice.com. It would be a pass for me. But I do like this one here. Lightboard.com. Is that a thing? Lightboard.com a thing? Or lightboards? I know soundboards are a thing. Oh, wow. Okay, it ends in 5 days, $2,200. You'll just have to take my word for it that typically we don't see this high price of domain names. We do right at the beginning, but okay, here we go. 2,400 monthly searches. I love seeing that. Oh, but we go down and strike out a little bit. The advertisers there's just 2 of them, 68 cents per click. That's a little tough. That's tough. Lightboard, here's our keyword. So we get to see our keyword showing up in this middle section. Lightboard, 2,400 searches. I like to see, again, I'm going to do that Control F, Lightboard. So PDR Lightboard is the only time our keyword showing up. So I like to see our keyword being used in other keywords because that opens it up to where we can target those keywords. Unfortunately, so for example, I don't know what PDR keyword is or Lightboard is, but if you wanted to target PDR Lightboard, you could do that on lightboard.com. The only thing is that's probably a brand, so you'll probably want to avoid that. How to make an LED tail light board. There's content for your site. So that this content right behind my head here is the content column. So if you ever are like, what am I going to do? I don't know anything about light boards. Whatever the heck a light board is, I don't even know what they are. What kind of content am I going to put on lightboard.com? Well, that third column, those questions, just put the question and either you answer them or you allow your visitors and the customers on your site to answer them. Voila, you have content. You don't need to be a Lightboard expert. As the guy that owns towing.com and DJs.com, look at me. I'm the most boring, normal person in the world, and I own DJs.com. I'm not cool enough for that site, but I just set it up to where the cool people, those people that are DJs that are out there making stuff in the music industry, they can come and answer questions and be involved in the community. That's what you would do with lightboard.com. Set it up to where these questions right here behind me can be answered by your community. And voila, you have content on a site that you know nothing about. That makes it like that right there is gold. That is freaking gold. Like that is seriously how I've created businesses that make millions with just a few people in my office. Is we are not the experts. We simply create a way for the experts to reach their audience. Dang it, do that, people. Come on. Okay. Let's see here. We have a question. Nice to see you here, Lee. Lee number 2. I'm going to have to call you Lee number 2. Lee Knights. Do you advise using custom landing pages to promote domain names for sale instead of *Nixado? And Lee, the thing about me is I'm here to we are here to develop domain names. We use custom landers for domain names, not to sell the domain name, but instead we use custom landers on many of the domain names we buy to collect waiting lists. So if you go to, let me try to think of one real quick, detailer.com, that's one of ours. Actually, I think doggroomer.com also. So we put this little landing page up on detailer.com, and it's like, hey, you want to join a landing? You fill out this form, and we know there's dozens of people, possibly even 100 people that have signed up on that waiting list because they are detailers that want to be involved on that site. And we use, instead of to sell the site, which actually you probably could contact those people to try to sell it. But for us, we do it. We don't want to sell the domain name. We just want to find the people that we can bring on and charge a monthly fee. That's the beauty of what we do here on Domain to Profit, is we look for ways we can develop and make money and create an asset that can generate revenue ongoing into the future instead of a one-off real estate transaction. So there you go. Hopefully that is helpful, Lee. But yeah, I do custom landing pages. I use leadpages.com. It's one of the questions I get usually right after I answer that question. Leadpages.com. There's all kinds of landing pages stuff. And they just have those What'sHeWig editors. So you just drag and drop stuff in. It doesn't have to be pretty. So hopefully that's helpful. Fixdebt.com. The Pops, remote pilot. Sounds like a game. Sounds like Matt would be interested in that one. Stick around with the community and, well, usually learn the domain names you look for or the projects you look to develop. VeganPizza. I'm guessing that's probably a pretty good domain name. So I love niches. Oh, there we go. Here's the weekly opportunity for us to say these are expiring domain names, meaning if the person decides to renew them, voila, we get this page which says you're not getting it. The person kept it. Website monitor right below it. Let's see how about that one. Website monitor ending in 5 days, $459 currently. I like this one a lot. One of the things we talk about in our office is, like, we got to make sure that still works. Like, oh, something went down. Well, like SpyFu, for example. SpyFu needs websitemonitor.com. They need a simple tool that, like, hey, your site's broken here. This feature is broken. Simple bots, as they might be called. 360 searches for website monitor. Website monitoring seems to be the more popular keyword, 930. So not much really happening with the domain, but let's check out. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Okay, here we go. So even though we got small volume keyword, we got big money. So we got double digit advertisers. And look at this, cost per click. So even though there's very little traffic for this domain name, they're willing to pay a lot. So why is that? What's going on here? Well, let's go find out, shall we? So this is the kind of domain name we like to find. So website monitoring, what are people looking for with that? Well, let's go find out versus Drew telling you. See, you could do this stuff. I'm literally just Googling it. Okay. So we got data hog uptime checks. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There are going to be numerous services out there. Many people will hear website monitoring or website monitor, actually. I think I just typed in the wrong domain. I did. And now I'm spelling it wrong. Jeez, old Pete's, this is a disaster. Get your act together. I'm a horrible speller. Okay, websitemonitor.com. These advertisers up here at the top, boom, are paying they run a service that checks to make sure features and websites are up. They charge their customers on a monthly basis. So the mathematics of their lifetime customer value and everything they have, like they're willing to, as long as they acquire a customer for less than their lifetime value of a customer, their internal calculations, they're willing to pay to advertise on risky upstart sites like websitemonitor.com. So many people hear websitemonitor.com and they think, oh, I'm going to create some tool that monitors for websites. And I say, as a domain developer, do not do that. Do not do that. You're asking for it's so much more work than what you actually have to do. You create a website that is a directory of website monitoring tools, and you go to those advertisers. There are 12 of them. They're paying a lot of money. They want customers. Now you just need to get a few of them to pay you a monthly fee to advertise and be a featured solution on websitemonitor.com. You have an easy job of building that website, providing tools for them to be able to customize their profile and answer some questions. Voila, you have reoccurring customers on websitemonitor.com. And you're sharing that domain name with many versus giving it to one person to benefit. So your small business can benefit many other small businesses, which I love. Let's work together. Kumbaya, people, kumbaya. Looks like Matt's giving me a dang it, meaning he probably was wanting to keep that domain name quiet. And I'll tell you right now, Website Monitor is one that I will bid on, Matt. I am bidding on that one for sure. So what is it worth? Let's go find out over on SpyFu. So how do I come up with what I'm going to bid on a domain name? As a developer, we can keep it kind of mathematical. You don't have to go with your gut. You don't have to go with your heart. You can kind of keep it, there's 360 searches. We're looking over here. Can we target website monitoring with websitemonitor.com? Yes, we can. You know, are there any other keywords, some volume over here in the middle that we can get on our site? Probably there's something there. I don't believe $22 per cost per click. I don't think that's probably accurate. Maybe it is because there's so many advertisers. I'm pretty much going to take this number, multiply it by probably 3. General rule of thumb, there's a lot that happens with a domain name like this. A lot of times I will take that monthly volume, multiply it by a cost per click amount, and call that good enough. However, when it's a low enough price, there's so many people that are willing to pay $1,000 for a domain name that you have to count on that domain name being more valuable to the marketplace. So in this case, I will tell you and share publicly, I will bid, for now, I'm going to go ahead and add because the domain name is already being bid on, the public's going to already be known about it. I'm just going to do 688. I'm going to keep my max bid private and invite you, already outbid, that's fine. I invite you, if you're going to bid on Website Monitor, let me know in the DMs over on Twitter. We can chat. I am definitely going to go 4 figures. I just probably on the low side. Let's see. StopHairLoss.com. Moving on, by the way. StopHairLoss.com. I don't care to be in that industry. I'm guessing there are people that are messing with Stop Hair Loss. Let's go check it out. Man, we haven't even made it off the first page today. 45 minutes in. Dear goodness, $4,500. There you go. You can. We're going to skip over Stop Hair Loss. I'm tired of talking about expensive domain names. Let's get to something a little bit better, something a little cheaper. I want to have a range here. Yeah, that's Stuart. Stuart's calling it out. Yeah, it's definitely it's going to be a big seller. I don't do your own research on that one. It's already kind of outpriced. I'm sure it's probably because it's worth it. I don't care to sell hair loss products. Just like I skip over most adult domains, hair loss Can you even stop hair loss? I don't think so. Just go bald and be beautiful and move on. Happy landing. Okay, so that's one where a lot of people maybe say that phrase. Do we say happy landing? No, they don't. It's like the people that clap whenever the airplane lands. Happy landing. Awesomeproducts.com. I like it. Pretty good brand. Going to skip over it for the sake of moving on. I view kind of awesomeproducts.com and that whole on sale. If you're going to do onsale.com for products, awesomeproducts.com may be a good one. Shop music. My goodness, what is going on today, folks? I feel like last week we didn't have that great a many, all that great of domain names. We have cunny.com, Air Factory. Okay, let's go check shopmusic.com. I avoid products most weeks, but I feel like we've already dove in a little bit this week. See if there's any keyword volume happening for it. And I know there's lots of people that love music, so I want to talk about it. Let's see here. Ooh, I see some good. Anybody see what I see in the middle column there? Okay, let's scroll down. We'll check advertisers are $4 per click. So I'm kind of curious. I wish this was a live audience right now to where I could see you out in front of me. Based on weeks past, in this middle column over here, what does Drew love to see? Well, hopefully you're answering by yelling at the screen and or typing at the current moment. And I love seeing near me. That is the money keyword when it comes to taking a great domain name, breaking it apart to be able to monetize it and share it with many people. Yes, there it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being the first one in their richest domains. You win the prize. So near me is it. So you'll see what we have here, shopmusic.com. I don't like the fact that it is reversed. So here is our keyword. I'm putting it in just to emphasize it for you. Our keyword is shop music. And you'll see here, music shops near me. So what we can try to do with shop music, maybe we can't. Dagnabbit. I think this is going to be a stretch. It's going to be a stretch. So let me tell you what I was going to tell you. If this domain name was music shop, it would line up perfectly with these two domain names. It's a near miss. I would skip this domain name for this purpose. So please note, skip this domain name for the purpose that I'm about to tell you, which is you can go for these local music shops being places that sell used CDs, used records, probably musical instruments, musical instrument repairs and things. If it was musicshops.com, you would be able to target these areas and localize that domain name, which is what we do on towing.com and many of other domain names. Localization allows you to, you just need one customer per city. Top 300 cities in the United States have over 100,000 people. So find one, and you got your first 300 customers, one per city, and $20 a month or so. Voila, you can start to see how the domain name gets value when you see that keyword near me. Unfortunately, the keywords are reversed, so my excitement has been revoked. Lots of good coffee today, as you may be able to tell. Good energy up in here. Okay. 10 minutes left. Let's see if we can keep this going. I love it when we get so many good domain names. Mixcast. Hoodwinked. What? I love Hoodwinked. Okay, let's go check that out. That's a thing, right? Like like Hoodwinked is what you say. Like it's anyhow. Let's go find out. Is anybody searching for that? So this one is more of a brandable domain name, something in the marketing vicinity. Hoodwinked.com, 31,000 searches for Hoodwinked. No advertisers. I expected that completely. This one is going to be more for an investor or somebody that just kind of wants a domain name to play. Could you imagine if like you want to put up a, oh wait, what's this? Where to watch Hoodwinked. I don't know it's a generic keyword. So as long as you don't go after whatever this is here, it sounds like that might be a trademarked show. Yep, look, Hoodwinked on Netflix. So no, watch out for Hoodwinked. Probably trademarked. Do not mention the show. But hoodwinked is a real English word, meaning kind of tricking or conning or whatnot. Hoodwinked. So maybe you put together a blog that talks about scam companies or little things that are happening on the internet. It'd be a great blog. What was it running for? $70 currently. I highly recommend with this one because the value is already low. Don't bring attention to it. Add it to your watch list, just like that. Follow along. Wait to put your primary bids in until 5 minutes and 10 seconds left in the auction. That is the best way to pursue that domain name. I'll participate in it just because I'd love to have it, but it's not a developable domain name. It is a movie, and it, as Richest Domain Names here says, basically tells the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, so that's not even a fun. I don't care to watch that, but that's awesome because the actual word would mean something along the lines of kind of scammed or conned. Probably not. It's a little lighter than that. I don't think it's usually as violent as like scamming or conning somebody, but it would be a great blog, maybe a review site even. I think it'd be fun. Brandable probably. Moving on, but I do like hoodwinked.com. It's going to get a little star here even. Drive system, movie car. And if you see a domain name, now that we're slowing down a little bit, if you see a domain name as I start to go a little faster that you think is a great domain to develop, you can call it out in the chat. I'll probably get it a little bit late, but we can talk about it. Majestic Pizza is a movie. Isn't that the one with like Julia Roberts from the early 90s? Don't mess with it. I've bought a domain name that expired from a movie with John Goodman in it. I let that crap go. That was stupid. That was early days of domaining. I thought it was like, oh, look how much fun it is. I got this domain name that was based on a movie. Ha ha ha. And yeah, it was only fun for me to talk with friends. It actually doesn't make money. There's nobody that goes there. Anyhow, save you the Majestic Pizza. Find suppliers. Let's check it out. My gut tells me it's too generic. I don't know if people actually go like, oh, I want to find suppliers. But if they do, we'll find out here in a second. This is why I love tools. My gut tells me it's generic. It's going to have some keywords. Yes, 135. Guessing very few advertisers. And if there are advertisers, it's going to be really cheap. It's a little better than what I expected. So there's 3 advertisers, 111 cents per click. I don't really think find suppliers. It sounds like a domain name that I would be excited about, but there's really not much happening here. There's no, you see, I have it highlighted. I have it highlighted, but there's really nothing's really popping up. It's a little too generic. So back to what we talked about at the very beginning of the show when we talked about OnSale.com, where it's authority. That domain name gets its value from the idea that when you call somebody and say, I'm OnSale.com, they're going to perk up. They're going to assume you have something good. When you call someplace and say, yes, I am with FindSuppliers.com, does that speak to them? If you're a supplier of, because that's the thing, is nobody's just I'm a supplier. They are a supplier of a specific product. And in that case, it would be more along the lines of, we have janitorial supplies. Wouldn't janitorial supplies be a little better than find suppliers? I'm not vibing with it. I don't like it. My gut says to pass on it. The data doesn't, it mostly backs me up as well. So Yeah, and richest domain, you're exactly on it. I passed up on. I don't like the word the. I skip nearly every time there's a the in front of it. You can get a domain name with the in front of it, but realistically, aren't you always going to wish you had the domain name without the? And that's really what it comes down to. I don't like to buy something that is always going to make me feel bad about myself. You're too damn good. You don't need to buy a domain name that makes you feel second place the rest of your life. So, and I will also say one of the first domain names I bought had the at the beginning, left a bad taste in my mouth because I had to explain that it was the, in some cases, I just, avoid it whenever possible. TexasApartment.com Piano Lounge. I love live music. It's one of the things I do whenever I travel, look for live music. Let's find out if Piano Lounge, that should be singular, right? Now, this is one that I'm going to add to my watch list. And if it is what I think it is, 135 searches. Man, that's a little bum. That's why there's no advertisers or anything. This is what I was looking for. Can you see this down over here? The Piano Lounge near me. There is some volume for it, but it's very minor. Realistically, piano lounges are just not as common as what they used to be. Last week, actually, remember I was up in Columbus. I believe, was that last week? I think it was last week. Last week I was up in Columbus. I went to Howl at the Moon, which is a piano lounge. I do the dueling pianos. I love it. So for the most part, pianolounge.com is going to be, if you're passionate about it, which I'd buy it and probably put it together. And if it doesn't make much, then so be it. Sometimes it's good just to be involved in something you're passionate about. So pianolounge.com, not really seeing much for it, but I'd love to develop it, help that industry out, help the piano people out. Yeah, but as you see, Matt, yeah, it's awesome, except for it's not as awesome as what we would think. The data's not there, but I do love it. It is a good domain name. So, again, I guess I should back it up a little bit on Piano Lounge. With Piano Lounge, there is development, but there's also the idea of a piano lounge online or something. You could do digital stuff, video stuff, listen to piano lounge music online. You can play with other aspects of it. Think about what the visualization, like what do you see when you hear the pianolounge.com. You might think of the website itself as a destination versus a place to find piano lounges. So there's probably some extra angles that you can go with it. On the brandable side, so by brandable, I mean you can call a company that you can build on top of the land, but you're not really mining. There's not really much to mine underground there. There's not that gold, that oil that you can just dig into the ground and tap into and grab some value. Okay, well, we are right up against 4 o'clock, and I mentioned that I would run through the domain names that I bid on last week, and I'll pull up my one domains, but I'm 99% sure I did not win anything last week. Let's find out, though. Sold date. So 5/6, gardenfinders.com, that's the one I bought for my wife. That's the last one I got. So, yeah, I did not... gardenfinders.com was the last one I bought, but I did participate. I just didn't win. So embroiderysoftware.com, $610 is what that one went for. I did not win it. I don't really like the software domain names, as you probably know, but I was willing to bid some for it. Startup Simulator. I got involved in business back when I was a kid with Lemonade Stand. If you've ever played that on an old computer. In Startup Simulator, I put a little money towards it, did not win it. And then Beautiful Night I liked as a brandable. So those 3 domains are all the ones that I lost. And you can see right there, they went for pretty cheap, but that's okay. I have way too many domain names in my portfolio. I don't need to add anymore. So there you go. There's some domain names. How you doing? Good week? Well, if you have not, and certainly if you're still watching right now, you should make sure you subscribe to Domain to Profit over on YouTube. That is where the subscription happens. Big business. I don't like to have them subscribe, but they do provide a service. So subscribe over on YouTube if you haven't. Like this video, and make sure you join us each week at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I go live. I spend this 1 hour looking through domain names, a little bit before, a little bit after, but this 1 hour with you is my favorite of the week, and we often find some of the best domain names, and we get to hang out in the chat. So very much appreciate you being here. You're my kinds of peeps. We're all together. So as domain developers. So I am Drew Wash. This is Domain to Profit, and I hope you'll be back with me 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week as we continue the journey to find great expiring domain names. See you next week. Take care.